Alright, welcome everybody. If you're even watching this, great. If not, then this will probably have to be broken down where I cut out the stream will begin shortly thing. I'm David Croft, that damn progressive. This is a really, really shitty time, is it not? And given some events that have been unfolding, I kind of want to start with a clip from TYT back in late October. Because seeing that clip again, it really has aged like sour milk, for lack of a better way to put it. Where's my browser part? Here it is. Found it. Alright, so 1 second. And so, Anna Kasparian, back in October of 2024, decided to sit there and claim that Trump was not a fascist.
Notion of a fascist. Because look, if we're just going to use fascist toward anyone we dislike, all right, then the word doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay, what do you want me to say, Anna? You want me to say wannabe dictator?
Sure, you can say wannabe dictator, but I don't even think he wants to be a dictator.
Of
He does.
course he does. That's what you do when you lose an election and you go, oh, I got fake electors and I'd like to terminate the Constitution and bring out the tanks and use martial law against American citizens and shoot protesters.
God, how right was Cenk on this one before he decided to follow Anna down the MAGA rabbit hole?
I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
But was he able to do those things?
Trump's
his rhetoric is awful.
Okay, if you don't want to be called fascist.
For the record, he wasn't able to do those things because he actually had adults in the room. Right now, he's a bunch of fucking cockholsters who don't even deserve the positions they're in. There's Pam Blondie, which credit Laura Loomer for that appropriate nickname. And honestly, we have Kristi Noem, a.k.a. Ice Cosplay Barbie. We got Pete Hegseth, who's too busy getting half in the bag right about now, most likely. We got a bunch of dipshits like Kash Patel. For fuck's sake. They don't deserve the positions they're in. And Anna, this is back in, again, October 2024. How dare she still stick to her guns on this? It aged like milk, and she fucking knows it, which is the part that's infuriating.
Just stop saying fascist things. It's not that hard.
Okay.
Not that hard. Oh, here, let me have dinner with Nick Fuentes, who's a Nazi, Kanye, who's a Nazi, and let me say there's good people on the Nazi side. Oh, it could be pro-Confederate guys. Might be guys who are pro-slavery who are good guys. Let me do all of these things. Let me say that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our nation, a Nazi term that is only used in the past by Nazis, and then say I'm going to ban Muslims, I'm going to do this and this and this to all other ethnic groups, and they go, oh, I can't believe you called me a fascist. No, he is a fascist. I'm very happy to call him a fascist.
All right.
For the record, I actually agree with Cenk's facial expression in that one. Too bad he also decided to go down the Trump is not a fascist rabbit hole. And for the record, in case you're wondering how the fuck I even found out about any of this, look no further.
All right, guys, I got some major emergency breaking news here for you. This really is a colossal deal here. It's official. The Trump regime is invoking the Insurrection Act, declaring martial law, and taking the California National Guard over from Gavin Newsom and deploying them in Los Angeles. So
you guys do realize with Trump doing that, you know what it means, right? You really should.
It means we're all royally fucked.
Exactly.
He came out and said the following. If Governor Gavin Newsom of California and Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles can't do their jobs, which everyone knows they can't, then the federal government will step in and solve the problem, riots and looters, the way it should be solved. So what he's doing is hinting there to something he said in the past. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. He said that multiple times. This is him. So wink and a nod to that. It's a not-so-subtle threat that some people might get killed. And he's doing this because now we have, I believe it's the second day of anti-ICE protests currently happening in Los Angeles. By the way, at the same time, There's also some anti-ICE protests that just broke out in New York. So Gavin Newsom came out and responded to this. He said, the federal government is moving to take over the California National Guard and deploy 2,000 soldiers. That move is purposefully inflammatory and will only escalate tensions. LA authorities are able to access law enforcement assistance at a moment's notice. We are in close coordination with the city and county, and there is currently no unmet need. The Guard has been admirably serving LA throughout recovery. This is the wrong mission and will erode public trust.
No shit. So Trump is essentially going over everybody's heads in California, from Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, pretty much every single city and state official going over their fucking heads and deploying the National Guard. And I kind of wonder if this is to distract from the fact that Elon Musk essentially called Trump a fredophile, as Kalinsky would phrase that certain word, as God forbid you say it on YouTube. Oh, so much for accuracy in saying words and what they mean, right?
So this is Gavin Newsom sending out a warning saying, look, you think you're going to invoke the Insurrection Act and basically ban even peaceful protests, and you think that's going to end well. That is not going to end well. What's going to happen is the protesters will become emboldened. There will be more people out there. It will become more violent. People are not going to go silently into the night and fold, especially since, what has ICE been doing? We've all seen it. We've reported on it endlessly on this channel. ICE is effectively Trump's Gestapo. So right now, they're doing all these raids throughout Los Angeles. They're in full military gear, and they're covering their faces. By the way, why are they covering their faces? Because they know that they're violating the law on a regular basis. They know they're...
Also, for the record, the excuse of, I was just following orders is not going to fly here. It didn't for the Nazis during the Nuremberg trial, so whenever all these atrocities end up tried at The Hague, yeah, just know that's not going to work. It didn't for the Nazis back in the 1940s. It's sure as fuck not going to work here.
They're not following the proper process and procedure. They know a lot of these people they're going after are innocent. In fact, you had ICE officers literally waiting outside of courtrooms, and then an immigration judge would dismiss a case for a certain immigrant. The second that immigrant walked out into the hallway, boom, they got rounded up, they got kidnapped, they got abducted, and they're getting locked up. So the reason the ICE officers are in full military gear and are covering their faces is because they know what they're doing is wildly illegal. They know it wouldn't actually hold up in a court of law. So the people of LA are fucking sick of it.
Bingo!
How many families have they seen ripped apart? How many communities have been ruined? How many good...
Way too fucking many.
Hardworking people have had their lives destroyed because Stephen Miller's psychotic ass, his fascist Nazi psychotic ass, decided we need to do minimum 1,200 deportations a day. Well, in order to get...
I think he upped it to 3,000 because he's that much of a heartless ghoul.
Get to that number, you all know this. We were through the undocumented immigrant violent criminals within the first, week. Now, you're just rounding up innocent people, hardworking people, grandmothers, people who were seeking asylum. They've deported kids. They've deported American citizen children, one 2-year-old, one 4...
Yeah, the 4-year-old who happened to have cancer. No cancer medication, nothing. Just stripped her back. She's probably dead now.
4-year-old, one 6-year-old. The 4-year-old had cancer and was deported without medicine.
So much for being pro-life, huh?
So ICE is effectively acting as Trump's Gestapo, and it looks like the public snapped. And they said, you know what, enough. So one of the things that happened is you had these anti-ICE protesters surround the ICE building where they were detaining a lot of these innocent people. And they're basically forming a human chain around it and saying fucking free them right now, bitch. Free them right now.
Yeah, so essentially starting off as a peaceful protest is what the gist of that is. And Kyle did better covering it here because, again, that was late breaking.
Is it going to be a wild ride today? So, of course, LA is exploding. It's a war zone.
This was from Monday, by the way.
You have reporters getting shot. You have chaos and anarchy in the streets. I'm going to walk you through all that. I have 1,000 videos for you on that. After that, we'll get to Trump issuing a dire warning to Elon Musk. We have Joe Rogan squirming as Elon unleashes on Trump. We have an ABC reporter who was censored and suspended for telling the truth about Stephen Miller. We have proof that Donald Trump is indeed in the Epstein files. J.D. Vance lies directly to Theo Vaughn's face.
Of course!
Total meltdown among MAGA, watching their two daddies fight. They are coping and seething over the Trump-Elon breakup. And then we also have a bombshell report on the Gaza aid flotilla, which was seized by the IDF. Greta Thunberg has officially been kidnapped, being held hostage by the IDF. So we got so much going on, man. It is going to be a crazy show. So everybody, you know the drill. Please do me a huge favor, subscribe to the channel. That's below. That helps out massively and costs you nothing at all. And thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. That link is below as well. As you all know, we couldn't do this show without you guys. We're real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. So please consider supporting the show. $2 a month, $5 a month, whatever it may be. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So just to catch everybody up real quick, and we covered this the other day in a breaking news story, but you had these massive ICE raids happening across the country, but particularly there was also a bunch of them happening in Los Angeles. And because of those ICE raids and the rounding up of innocent people, the detaining of innocent people, the attempt to deport innocent people, basically the powder keg exploded, and you had these massive anti-ICE protests that broke out. So in response to that, after literally just a day or two of protests, and by the way, at the time, no violence whatsoever, Trump decided, I'm going to invoke the Insurrection Act, I'm going to federalize the California National Guard, which is effectively taking them from Gavin Newsom, and I'm going to deploy them in the streets of LA.
Sorry
and
about
beyond that, you have Pete Hegseth and Trump now threatening, we may also send in the Marines to crack down on American citizens. Okay, so...
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So this is a huge deal. This is the whole ball game. Doing the Insurrection Act, invoking martial law. At the same time, he's got his fascist military parade coming up on June 14th in about a week. At the same time, we learn about how Palantir is creating a mass surveillance blackmail database where they take facts about all Americans and put them in one single file.
Yeah, for the record, the Palantir thing I was going to talk about today, but I had to put it on the back burner because of this fucking bullshit. So the Palantir thing I will probably get to, hopefully, because I plan on doing 2 more live streams this week, tomorrow or Thursday, maybe Friday, depending on how everything works out. We'll go from there. Anyways, when it comes to my live stream schedule, take it with a grain of salt.
So they have all the dirt on you they need. This is all happening at once. It's all happening super quickly. So I'm going to show you the videos from last night, which are absolutely chaotic. They are insane. We got wild stuff happening. But before we do that, let's catch up here as to what was the chain of events that led us to where we are. Here we go.
The mainstream media is not telling us the truth about what's happening in California, so here it is. California Governor Gavin Newsom put out a tweet saying the federal government is taking over the California National Guard.
Oh, God. Okay, hold on. I shouldn't have did the playback speed at 1.25. There we go.
Deploying 2,000 soldiers in Los Angeles. Not because there's a shortage of law enforcement, but because they want a spectacle. In Los Angeles, there have been mass raids going on for days now where ICE is going in trying to raid communities to try to round up people who are law-abiding citizens in this country to try to deport them. But there have been mass defend immigrant family protests going on to make sure that they stop ICE. These protests have largely been peaceful, and anytime you've seen any escalation, it's been from the ICE agents themselves. In this clip, you'll clearly see that the police are the ones that are agitating and pushing people.
By the way, to that point, I got a message from a friend of the show. I've known this guy for a very long time. And he said he was at one of these LA protests. And the protesters were all being perfectly peaceful. And then the cops started shooting tear gas directly into the crowd.
Of course they did. Honestly, I'm not even surprised to find that out.
So that seems to me to be validation of the idea that it's all the people decked out in military gear with weapons who, in many instances, are the ones firing the first shots.
In this clip, you clearly see the people are peacefully organizing and literally shaming the ICE agents out of the community. As a political commentator, it's literally my motherfucking obligation to make sure that I'm corroborating shit, because a lot of people in the comment section are going to come through and say, well, oh, you're picking and choosing specific videos to show a specific narrative. False. Literal news release from the Los Angeles Police Department themselves came out and said today's demonstrations across the city of Los Angeles remain peaceful, and we commend all those who exercise their First Amendment rights responsibly. The Los Angeles Police Department appreciates the cooperation of organizers, participants, and community partners who helped ensure public safety throughout the day. So even...
Yeah, why do I have a feeling this is a piece of, evidence that Anna Kasparian would look over to spread propaganda?
The Los Angeles Police Department is coming out and saying that everything has been peaceful all throughout the day.
That is a wild fact. That the LAPD was basically saying, look, we don't need the National Guard. We don't need the Marines. We don't need anything. Okay? Like, if anything, that's going to inflame tensions and make it worse. Basically, get the fuck out of our way and let us do our jobs. All right, here we go.
Here.
Let me go ahead and add a little bit to that. As Kyle pointed out there, the LAPD, Los Angeles, Gavin Newsom, they pretty much said, we have this under control, and bringing in federal agents is going to escalate tensions. Guess what? That is exactly what the fuck happened. All right, back to this. Oops, shit. There we go.
Here comes Donald Trump's orange ass, who, by the way, is still looking for distractions to not have us talk about the fact that Elon Musk said that he was in the Epstein files. He's over here escalating the situation in Los Angeles by putting out a presidential memorandum. In this memorandum, he says numerous incidents of violence and disorder have recently occurred and threatened to continue in response to the enforcement of ICE. Literally none of this is true. I just showed. The Los Angeles Police Department said not only do they have this shit handled, but everything has remained peaceful. With this memorandum, he's basically taking over the California National Guard and deploying 2,000 soldiers in Los Angeles for fucking nothing. Not only that, but then got Pete Hegseth, who's the Secretary of the Department of Defense, put out a tweet that basically says the Department of Defense is mobilizing the National Guard immediately to support federal law enforcement in Los Angeles. And if violence continues, active duty Marines at Camp Pendleton will also be mobilized. They are on high alert. High alert.
They've already been mobilized.
For what they're calling a violent mob assault on ICE, which is, again, a false fucking flag. None of it is true. Not only have they activated National Guard and have Marines at hand, they're also bringing in military equipment and ammunition into the community. Black Hawk helicopter, which is a military helicopter, moved in from the Border Patrol. They are unloading dozens of boxes of ammunition, lethal weaponry, and you see tanks with flammable labels on the side, as if they were getting ready for major battle. While he's militarizing police, escalating tensions in Los Angeles, also that he can get another story out there other than he's in the Epstein files. While all of this is happening, this motherfucker's at UFC making an entrance with Dana White and shit. All of this is a fucking spectacle. All of this is a distraction, and I need us to be focused and toned in. California, the world is watching.
And Gavin Newsom had released a statement literally warning, look, if you send in the National Guard, that will lead to more violence in the streets, more chaos. That will inflame the tensions that you're pretending you want to tamp down. So, look, he wanted any flimsy excuse he could get whatsoever to try to go full fascist, full authoritarian, full dictator, full tyrant. And it looks like that's exactly what he's doing right now. So, by the way, shout out to Brian Baez for this video. He's over on TikTok. You can check him out. But let me set the table some more for you. So, when we talk about ICE and what they've been doing, I mean, guys,
Brian Baez. Okay, hold on. Okay.
The horror stories are endless. So look at this one. Snatched in plain sight. Congress, where are you on this? Plain clothes, no identification, unmarked cars with everyday plates. Anyone can throw on regular clothes, flash a fake badge, and claim to be ICE. The way they're operating is reckless and dangerous. So this has been a huge problem. You have ICE officers dressing like gangsters, dressing like thugs, covering their faces in plain clothes with plain license plates on their vehicles, and they've been, riding up on people and just snatching them off the streets. Kidnapping.
For the record, this has also become a thing that criminals are now utilizing so they can break into people's home and steal their shit, or steal their money, or mug them. So when people have been saying, aren't you concerned they need to be showing ID, this, that, and the other, and these regime pigs are sitting there going, no, we're trying to protect ourselves. Yeah, that's why. For fuck's sake.
Kidnapping them, abducting them, human trafficking them to Lord knows where. So here's just one example of many examples.
Like Kilmar.
By the way, at the same time, we also learn there's a lot of ICE officers who have literal, Nazi tattoos that are clearly visible on their arms.
Oh my God.
A lot of Proud Boy-like motherfuckers, a lot of far-right white nationalist-like motherfuckers, to be these ICE agents. All right, here we go. I don't know if you heard, but they keep asking, where are you taking them? Where are you taking them? Where's your badge? What's going on? No response. For the record, the reason they're wearing masks is because they know what they're doing is illegal. The ICE officers know that. That's why
They're making it difficult for the Hague to identify them later.
they're covering their face and hiding their identities. Now, by the way, a lot of these videos I'm going to show you, some of them are from LA, some of them are not. This is just what ICE has been doing all around the country leading up to this. Okay, more. ICE has just raided a restaurant and bar in Charleston, South Carolina. It looks more like the military raided it, people are saying. Here we go. Here's the video of this one.
Look at that. Look at that. I'm sorry, but what the actual fuck? I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Fucking fascist pigs.
Look at this. Insane. All right, more. Note that these clashes occurred after ICE explicitly began carrying out worksite raids and arresting people at court hearing and check-ins. Explicitly people who are not criminals. In fact, this happened because Stephen Miller screamed at ICE to stop going after criminals. More. A Trump regime trooper pulls out a weapon and aims it at an unarmed U.S. civilian as ICE kidnaps a victim in Memphis. So this one here is from Memphis, Tennessee. Watch this.
He's not a criminal! He's not a criminal! What are you doing? Get back! Get back! Just like what?
Points his gun at a concerned wife, saying,
What the fuck? Anybody outraged yet? And quite rightfully so? Is it making sense yet, motherfuckers?
in Memphis. So this one here is from Memphis, Tennessee. Watch this.
He's not a criminal! He's not a criminal! What are you doing?
Right there. Right there. Now, what did... That was not warranted at all. I'm sorry, but it wasn't. Law and Order my aching fucking ass. You don't give a fuck about Law and Order if you're defending that. I'm sorry, you don't.
Points his gun at a concerned wife, saying, he's not a criminal. He's not a criminal. One more time. Watch this. I'm sure that's not proper protocol. You have a distraught wife and you point your gun at her. And this guy's face is showing too, by the way.
Oh! Good. Good. Identify him. Identify him. Then he'll actually receive some real Law and Order. Alright.
Jesus Christ. More. Here's a Los Angeles school worker who shares frustration over parents having to leave their children's graduation ceremony because ICE raided an elementary school's graduation today. Watch this.
Can't handle this, y'all. This is crazy, yo. I didn't think this was about to affect me like this. But, our neighbor's school, y'all know I work at a school. Fuck. Our neighbor in school, I think it's Gratas, I don't know how to say it. It's Gratas or something like that. They were having their graduation. And there's helicopters in the sky. Most of these schools are... Fuck, yo. Most of these schools are predominantly Hispanic. Most of these schools are predominantly Hispanic. Gratas, I believe elementary, was having their graduation. And all of a sudden, a bunch of parents have to run out because ISIS is there. This is the story that I'm hearing. And, our school goes on lockdown. Our principal, tells us it's a drill, but we know it's not a drill. and you know, I had to come outside. It's my break. We got like off of a soft lockdown, and you know, parents had to run out because they don't have papers, and they had to leave their kids because the kids do. What type of shit is this, yo? And then kids are freaking grabbing teachers and crying on their leg because they don't know if they're about to see their parents when they get home. What the fuck is this? And we voted for this shit?
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
It's fascism, people.
Rating school graduations. All right, so this one. A friend of an Ecuadorian female detainee in ICE custody shares she was taken without notice, leaving her 5-year-old child alone in school and had to be picked up by a nanny. The woman suffers from cancer, and ICE is preventing her from getting her cancer medication. This is just one of literally over 100,000 stories like this happening in real time. ICE detained a U.S. Marshal because he, quote, fit the general description of a subject. Basically, they racially profiled their own kind, and this was an article from NBC News. ICE agents mistakenly detained U.S. Marshal in Arizona. The deputy marshal was detained because he fit the general description of a subject being sought by ICE, according to the U.S. Marshal's Service. The idea at this late date, oh, don't worry, they're only going after undocumented immigrant violent criminals to keep the community safe. That is a lie.
No shit, it's a fucking lie. We all tried saying that, and we had a bunch of people out there not fucking listen. So to that, I'd say, welcome to our world, bitches. Shit, there we go.
Everybody knows that's a lie. We have evidence piled as high as Mount Everest proving they're going after countless innocent...
You mentioned Mount Everest really quick. Is Darby Allin gonna try climbing that next?
People. Here's another one. Trump regime ICE forces assaulted and kidnapped a mother on her way to pick up her children from school. This is what they are doing all over the country. More. Here we go. Absolutely horrifying. Chaos erupts at the U.S. federal courthouse in New York City as ICE detains a man just moments after his immigration case is dismissed.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, I had to speed this one up because I've seen this video before, and needless to say, there's probably a good size hole in a tree right about now.
When you do this, actual rule of law breaks down in the country, because now the message you're sending is, hey, if you're an immigrant, even if you're a legal immigrant, do not go to any check-ins, do not go to any court dates, because if you do, they're going to snatch your ass there, even if the judge says, hey, you're good, you're free to go, you're fine. This leads to the breakdown of law and order, and by the way, who are the real criminals in this scenario? Flagrantly violating court orders, ignoring the law. This is absolute gangster, thug, mafia, fascist shit, and we're watching it in real time. Many undocumented immigrants who went to ICE check-in appointments at a federal building in LA this week were taken into custody, brought to the basement, and held there, lawyers and family members say. So again, following the rules, following the process, following the law, getting snatched up anyway. That's what's happening. Gee, I wonder why people snapped, and why there's thousands of people in the streets now. So here's the acting ICE director who's responding to political rhetoric causing anti-ICE sentiment. Here's what he said. Listen to this. This is incredible.
The agents walk into danger so other people can...
Give me a second. I gotta put it normal because I forget Kyle speeds these up.
sleep safely at night so kids can make it to school safely and play outside.
Think about what he just said. We do our job so kids can make it to school safely and on time. No, you are snatching the innocent parents from those kids. And they don't know if they'll ever get to see their parents again.
While it's easy to be an armchair quarterback and make up talking points that get activists riled up, the bottom line is my office is out there protecting the same people who are threatening their safety.
Oh my fucking God! Someone arrest this stupid motherfucker! And by the way, shut up, bitch! You really are going to sit there and try to say people are armchairing this? Coming from a worthless fuck like yourself? Fuck you!
common sense. Politicians need to stop putting my
Yeah, common sense that you don't fucking have.
people in danger. I'm not asking them to stop. I'm demanding that they stop.
Excuse you? Have you heard of the Constitution? Have you heard of the First Amendment?
He hasn't heard of any of those. He probably has never even read them.
Have you heard of freedom of speech? Have you heard about telling the truth? Explaining the facts on the ground of what's actually happening? These motherfuckers have some nerve. Holy shit. This is the most anti-American shit I've ever seen in my life.
No shit.
Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, and anyone else stirring up the outrage about what ICE does. These
You're seriously trying to put the blame at Hakeem Jeffries, who can't even make a good defense of anything? A guy whose balls are made of fucking pussy? Really? I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. 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 I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
are real people with real families you're hurting with your ridiculous rhetoric and inflammatory comments. And it's time to remember that.
So in other words, you're not allowed to disagree. You're not allowed to tell the truth about what they're doing. Because if you do that, oh, you hurt their feelings. And their feelings are more important to them than the rights of the people in this country. Stephen Miller has set his sights on new targets to find undocumented migrants. Home Depot and 7-Eleven.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh! Jesus God. All right, if anyone out there is still supporting Trump at all, I have a fucking bridge to sell you. That's all I have to say at this point. What the actual fuck are we doing?
So we talked about this briefly before, but Stephen Miller had a meeting with DHS officials and ICE officials, and he reamed them, and he screamed at them, hey, why are you not deporting more people? We want 3,000 deportations a day, minimum 1,200. I want you to go to Home Depots. I want you to go to 7-Elevens. I want you to go to hair salons. I want you to raid graduations. He's the one who's steering this ship every step of the way. He's the one who's now leading to the mass chaos and breakdown of law and order in this country because his ICE fascist thugs are violating the law on a regular basis and ruining lives on a regular basis. Look at this fact, y'all. ICE arrests under 100,000 as officials expand aggressive efforts to detain migrants. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you. When it comes to both documented immigrants and undocumented immigrants, both of those groups objectively, factually, commit fewer crimes compared to native-born American citizens. That's a fact. So when you crunch the numbers on this, by the way, you know what percentage of immigrants are violent criminals? Less than 1%. You know what the raw number is? About 10,000 or fewer of the immigrants in this country are violent criminals. Think of what I just said. The raw number is 10,000 or less. There's been over 100,000 arrests. That means you have minimum 90,000 innocent people who are being fucked with, who are being screwed with, whose lives are being upended for nothing but a bigoted, xenophobic, idiotic, racist, mafia, fascist policy being implemented by the Trump regime here. Everybody needs to keep their wits about them in this moment. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm trying to here. I'm trying to. Does anybody get it yet? What type of shit we're in? Does anybody get it at all? Well, you better.
Robert Scavarla says the following. Be cognizant of information warfare. The Trump administration will use influencers to spread disinformation so they can create sufficient outrage to justify violence. They're already reviving old conspiracy theories about Antifa. So here's one MAGA hack influencer. I've discovered pallets of cement bricks within striking distance of the ICE agents. There's no other pallets around. Some are in the back of the gate, but these are in front of the gate. I'm told protesters use these cement bricks to throw at ICE agents in Paramount, California.
Are we really surprised that there's a shit ton of disinformation running about there now?
Oh, son of a bitch!
Yeah. Not surprised.
This is what our cops are up against. Organized looters strategically placing caches in New York City. Look at this. They're trying to pre-justify the state cracking skulls and harming people and killing people.
Of course they are. I am not even surprised. Newsom ended up filing a lawsuit against Trump. I don't see it working out. And here it is.
Watch what's happening on the screen here, because this is just a little taste of what I'm about to show you of what's going down in LA right now.
Well know is ICE initiated enforcement actions on several workplaces, and that created a sense of chaos and outrage and fear and terror. Because
So understand what she said. The only reason we have an issue here is because you're doing mass raids on workplaces. By the way, did you know one of the people that they arrested and that they assaulted is literally the head of a union? I believe it was the leader of the SEIU. They assaulted a union leader. Mass raids at workplaces. What do they say all the time? Oh, if you're going to be in this country, you got to work hard. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Then a bunch of immigrants do that, and they go, no, not like that. Kick them out.
Yeah, have you ever realized that type of hypocrisy coming from these worthless fucks? Have you ever picked up on that hypocrisy at all? I'm sorry, but if we were being invaded by immigrants who weren't working, then how are they working and abiding by our laws while not being able to draw any Social Security? I'm sorry. They make zero sense with their arguments. They really don't.
Out of the country. Fascism is what we're seeing here.
No shit.
People are very worried as to what happened to their families. You also know that when ICE enters the city, that local officials are not notified that that is going to happen, and we are left in the lurch responding spontaneously to something that had been planned, but we were not a part of the plans.
Wow.
Mayor, we've heard a lot of talk about the National Guard
God.
coming here. We're wondering if you can give us an update on when we can expect them.
Well, I hope that they will not arrive at all. As I mentioned, I've been talking to people in the White House. I even talked to Tom Homan, who is responsible for this, and I believe that we will be able
Mumblemouth Elmer Fudd.
to work things out.
They did end up arriving. So Trump said, I'm going to send in the National Guard. And then basically like 12 to 15 hours later, he went on Twitter and said, or the Truth Social, and said, great job by the National Guard in Los Angeles. Well done. And at the time he said that, the National Guard was not on the ground yet. But within a few hours of him saying that, then they showed up. Okay, so here we go.
Okay. I do not want to hear another goddamn word about Biden being senile, okay? Does that make any sense now? Thinking that the National Guard was on the site already when they weren't? Really? Are you really that fucking stupid? Are you really this stupid to think that they were already there when he sent that out? MAGA, seriously, are you legitimately this stupid?
Chaotic scene outside the federal detention complex in downtown LA in the wake of ICE raids playing out throughout the day. Here we go.
Let them stay, let them free.
They're boarding up the doors. You have the protesters saying, let them stay, let them free, and you see some Palestinian flags among the protesters. So, by the way, as I'm about to show you, this federal detention center where the ICE agents brought all the innocent people that they kidnapped and abducted, you had protesters form a human chain around the ICE detention center, and they were saying this: let them stay, let them free. In other words, we're not asking anymore. We're tired of you ripping apart, destroying families, destroying people's lives over fucking nothing. All right, more. Here we go. Protesters in Paramount, California have vandalized a U.S. Marshals Service bus during fiery demonstrations against immigration raids. So this bunch I believe the idea is that it was supposed to be used to transport these innocent people that they just kidnapped. Here we go.
Of Alondra, near where that Home Depot is, where all of this started this morning. So I'm under the impression right now that either this bus is for those agents, the Border Patrol, or it's to make arrests. Oh, looks like the bus is moving even though protesters are trying to stop it from moving. So we don't know if this is reinforcements, if this is to help with arrests, or to get those agents out of there. But this situation continues to just unravel here in Paramount.
It wouldn't surprise me if that bus was meant to human traffic those people and ship them off to El Salvador, where they will most likely die in that concentration camp.
Right now, we're bringing you live pictures. This is Josh Haskell with ABC 7 Eyewitness News of protesters literally trying to stop this bus with their own hands. And the bus is slowly creeping up, and it does not appear that this bus is full of, I don't know who is on this bus. I don't know if anyone is on this bus, but they are kind of trying to creep forward. And I don't see how this situation resolves without the Sheriff's Department getting involved or local law enforcement. It really does feel as though if these are reinforcements or for arrests, they're going to have a difficult time.
All right, more. Heavily armed Trump regime forces driven away by community resistance mid-ICE raid in Los Angeles. Scenes repeating all over the city where people are standing up to them. By the way, as I pointed out, just like a lot of the raids that I showed you and actions I've showed you from ICE, it's not just in LA and California that I'm showing you videos from. I'm also showing you from around the country. Also, same scenario here. We got a lot of these things I'm showing you are from LA or Paramount or the surrounding region, but some of this stuff is not. All right, here we go. So one of the things that you'll see is, as they point out, like you have regular people attempting to basically prevent federal agents from getting to the ICE facility, right? They want the innocent people who were rounded up to be freed.
Hold up, did she just flip him off? Hold on. Just the littlest things are going to make me laugh with all this going on, guys. Oh, shit! Oh, my God! I'm sorry! I had to replay that! Oh, man. By the time we're officially done with MAGA fascism, I say that needs to be the new national bird. The finger.
I mean, look at this. This is a war zone. We're looking at a war zone.
No shit. It's essentially a war zone of Donald Trump's making. But this does bring up a pretty interesting point. Alright, so give me just a second. I'm going to pull up that video, but Kristi Noem was grilled by CBS, excuse me. There we go.
President Trump said masks will not be allowed to be worn at protests. Who's going to...
Oh, yeah, he actually had the balls to say that. Start with your goon squad first, buddy. Start with your goon squad. All right, so let me start that over. I had to take a second to find that other thing.
President Trump said masks will not be allowed to be worn at protests. Who's going to enforce that and how? And how can you justify it when law enforcement officials have their faces covered?
Okay, so massive credit. I don't even know who this anchor is. I'm sorry. I'm not up to date on the weekend talk show bullshit. But credit to this lady for actually asking that question.
You know, what I would say is that the law is going to be enforced, and that what the laws are in this country is what we are doing, and our ICE officers and our law enforcement officers out there that are in these situations where people have questioned why they have their faces covered, it's for the safety of those individuals. Or
no, that's not it at all. Try again.
The work that they're doing as far as protecting their identity so they can continue to do investigative work. So,
but are you tasking the National Guard soldiers with removing masks from protesters? I mean, are you trying to use them in that way?
National Guard soldiers are there to provide security for operations and to make sure that we have peaceful protests. So,
yeah, that has been the exact opposite of what's happening. Notice she's doing nothing but spouting the MAGA fascism propaganda. Pick up on this, people. That's exactly what this bitch's job is.
Work is, and I won't get more specific on that just because we never do when it comes to law enforcement operations. We're doing the same standard procedures we always do.
This is a strictly Trumpism issue, bitch. This is a strictly Trumpism issue.
With our National Guard and with our, law enforcement folks that are on the ground working with these communities.
Yeah, all they're doing is fucking shit up left, right, and center. That's what they're doing. That is exactly what they're doing, whether you want to admit it or not. All right, so another thing that is happening is the fact that they are launching rubber bullets, which are supposedly non-lethal. But look at this. Look at this right here. Those are rubber bullets, okay? They're supposedly non-lethal, but I'm calling bullshit. CNN is claiming that these small objects are being thrown by protesters and explode, scaring police. Those are rubber bullets fired by police at civilians. They do not explode when thrown. CNN is doing agitprop for the LAPD. And there's a video clip to explain it too.
These that I'm just trying to do this and keep the microphone up before it gets really loud if they start firing again. These are what people in the crowd have been firing at the ground. Those cause some of the explosions.
What?
Like a foam thing. You can smell the explosive on it. That causes the police to immediately respond.
What?
Charge. And we've seen a lot of people fall. We've actually...
Fire her. Fire her for propaganda. Fire the bitch. She doesn't fucking deserve to be there. Spreading nothing but lies and misinformation. She can kiss my ass. Jesus Christ. Let me just move on to this. Because Jon Stewart does invoke a really good point, and I want to end the video on this, in all honesty.
Eerie. Very eerie. Now, moving back to the tension, turmoil, and violence coming out of Los Angeles, it's hard to watch an American city torn apart like this. And quite honestly, I was a bit surprised, but even the MAGA sphere is somber and reflective at what they're seeing in Los Angeles.
It's deeply, deeply unfortunate.
Look,
I'll be honest, this like really hurts my soul.
I think it's a sad thing to see.
No one wants to see this.
I hate to see it. I think America hates to see it.
Most importantly, it's going to be bad for the country.
I think it is important for us to pray, for peace.
Sorry, I'm being told that wasn't about Los Angeles. That was them heartbroken that Trump and Elon have gone no contact. That's a slightly different thing. That's true. See, for the right now, I guess that's the real national tragedy. Elon Musk has unfollowed Cat Turd. We must pray for peace.
Oh, by the way, fuck you, Cat Turd. Just want to put that out there.
See, the upset in LA is in a blue city, with people that they don't give a about.
I'm incredibly happy with President Trump's decision.
Trump is right on target with this.
This just screams common sense.
An enormous positive for our country.
It's certainly well-deserved. There was never any consequences. And now the hammer is being dropped. Do you want to live in Los Angeles, which is mini Mexico?
To be fair, they also have a fantastic Koreatown. But why escalate this shit now? The unrest in LA is predictable outcome of these aggressive tactics. I believe the right refers to federal overreach as don't tread on me, we the people, cold dead hands, something along those lines. So why is this happening now? What's it meant to distract from? I mean, I can't remember. What were we even talking about right before the first Waymo went up in flames?
Elon Musk is now accusing Trump of being in the Epstein files.
Oh, right. That's what we were talking about.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. To distract from the fact that he is on Epstein's client list, and Elon finally put two and two together. Now, there is a clip of Joe Rogan finding out about it, and we're probably going to get to that tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday, whenever I'm able to get back on.